Welcome and thank you for tuning in to Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy. The following content may involve explicit language and materials, so listener discretion is advised.
Got it.
Oh my gosh, holy shit.
Hey,
Okay.
what's up?
I told myself I wasn't going to scream like a girl. I'm going to breathe.
Can you see me?
No, I can't.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I think
You're
I had to plug-
invisible.
Oh, there it is. Oh, okay. Yeah,
Well-
I'm not used to using Zoom. And the last couple times I have, like, my microphone just doesn't work. But it's working now. So cool.
I've had some different issues. I thought about doing two different things just to see what the difference is. The main reason I use Zoom now is because so much weird stuff was happening while I was recording that I was like, I've got to get this shit on tape because no one's going to fucking believe me. Like, my lights would flicker, things would move. I've gotten spontaneous bloody noses before.
Oh,
It's
boy.
it's been kind of crazy. So I was like, we'll just record everything. Just so you know, if you see any flashing lights behind me, I turned on my sensors. So
Okay,
if
so that's
anything, if anything
mid-
decides to say hi, it'll hit the sensor and light up like a rainbow.
Excellent. Mid ghost hunt. Very cool. Now,
Oh,
when,
yeah.
when you do these, do you release video or just audio?
I usually release the audio. The video is on my Patreon feed.
Okay, cool.
So that's really the only place to get the video. And I look like a total hobo today because, well, I was a hobo today. And
same.
it's been craziness over here. Just like an hour and a half ago, while I was getting stuff ready, my husband came inside from mowing the lawn and was like, "Hey, we got a problem." And I was like, "Okay, like what's going on?" He's like, "I found a baby bunny."
Oh no.
And I'm thinking like a small rabbit, right? And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Did it just run away? Do we need to catch it?" He's like, "No, you don't understand. I mean, baby bunny."
Oh, like pink baby bunny?
Well, it's not quite pink.
Oh no,
But
it's
it's
way
definitely
too
not-
fresh.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Oh, it's not good.
super fresh. Well, we have stray cats. My husband won't let me poison them. So they just kind of roam around. I don't like the stray cats. But my husband found the stray cat going after, the cat found the nest too.
Yeah.
And this little teeny tiny bunny was like 2 feet from the hole and it can't move. So clearly he thinks that when he came around, he scared the cat. The cat dropped it and then took off.
Yeah. No, that's my cat is like the Richard Ramirez of cats. Like the shit that she brings home I'm surprised she hasn't brought like another cat home. Honestly, it's terrible.
I used to have a cat that she would bite the heads off everything and leave them everywhere, like birds, mice, everything. She brought a snake in the house. I got a bat in the house. She just left it on my bed. It was disgusting. But anyway, so there's this rabbit. And so I'm like, well, we need to check on it, right? And I'm looking and the hole's big enough it should have had at least probably 3 to 5 of these bunnies in it. And there's one bunny.
Oh boy.
Who was outside of the hole. Parents are nowhere to be found, and I'm like, it's a death sentence if we leave this poor thing. So next to me is a box.
Oh no, with a bunny?
With a bunny. Well, I've got like an old shirt, like an old flannel shirt. I've got a towel. I took a bunch of because the nest had been ripped open from the cat digging in it. And so I picked up all the pieces of like the mom's fur. And then I went and I buzzed my dog, he's a Yorkie Pomeranian mix, but I need more fur. So I went and just buzzed him real fast and put his fur in there to keep. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
that's so funny.
Nice. And then on top of that, right before I came in here, my kid apparently has like this meltdown and he's in his room crying. And I'm like,
yeah, it's funny because my wife dropped my daughter off to my in-laws house and my son had come home. I picked up I got my daughter from school. I came home and she's like, "Yeah, Charlie doesn't feel good." And I'm like, "Oh, kids get sick, whatever, no big deal." Yeah. He's like burning up. He's like 6'1", like 230. He's just this big dude. He's like, "I don't feel well." I'm like, "Oh fuck, dude." Here and we got like Easter and shit. I'm like, "Fuck me, god damn it."
Yeah,
so he's like upstairs sleeping. I told my wife he's awake, but I don't know what the fuck you want me to do with him. He's fine, but I'm just
he just feels puny. And then it's like, mine's just crying. He's just like having a meltdown. And I walk in there and I'm like, "Bro, what's up?" And he's just like crying. And I was like, "Words, dude." I was like, "This is 3 minutes before I'm supposed to log in." I was like, "I ain't got time for this shit.
Dude,
Suck it up or tell me."
puberty, dude.
Yeah, and so
Shit sucks.
he's 12. Yeah,
that's
and
prime time, dude.
yeah, and he's a big guy too. So he's like 5'8", weighs like 220. And
yeah, no, that's my son's like 6'1", he's like 230. Yeah, it's crazy.
And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, did something happen? Is somebody being a dick? Because he knows that I'll kick their ass. And he's like, no. And I'm like, well, use your words. I was like, you know what? I was like, I don't have time for this. I love you. I'll give you a hug. I'll be back in a couple hours. And then I walked out and I told my husband, I was like, I ain't got time for this shit. You go.
That's funny.
Like, he won't talk to me. I was like, well, maybe it's a guy thing. I don't know. But
yeah, just them damn hormones is you pretty.
Well, unfortunate for him, both of his parents are bipolar. So
that'll do it.
Yeah, issue there. Granted, I'm heavily medicated, but I occasionally have meltdowns.
Yeah, it's funny when we used to record years ago in my garage, I was still a smoker, and I have pictures of me and Rob and Chris, and we're sitting around this table, and like we have microphones, and I just have a cigarette, and it looks like an old style like radio, and I'm like, how the fuck did I smoke that close to those dudes for that long? Like, what a douche!
They're gonna have contact. Emphysema.
Yeah, I mean, Rob never smoked, but Chris did. So, I mean, he didn't smoke at that time; he had already quit. But yeah, it's funny because I think I quit. I'm 43, so I don't know. Maybe I was 20. It was when my son was born. So maybe I think I wasn't like 30 yet, maybe. And but yeah, I'd smoked from the time. It's funny. I was talking to my wife about this because I started smoking when I was like 12. Literally 12.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and like it just and now I'm just addicted to nicotine vapes. A good buddy of ours actually runs a pretty popular vape shop in the area, which is where all of our mail gets sent to, which is pretty cool. We have mail people.
That is cool. That's if get a courier. My husband's a mailman, so I'm always hey, I always make jokes about him delivering the package.
Nice. That's funny.
And he always wears this little, uniform, and I'm like, yeah, that's right. Like,
that's awesome.
Bring me the mail, big boy.
That's funny.
But yeah, so it's just, I'm hoping they figure it out. But yeah, literally all of this happened in the last like hour. And I was like, I don't have time to do anything. I was like, I'll just braid my hair. I'm like, fuck it. So I look like a hobo. Sorry about everybody who has to watch this.
I totally look like a hobo as well.
Oh, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you, everybody. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited because I have been waiting for this and I did really good. I didn't scream like a total bitch. And I didn't faint, which I thought I was going to be like a fainting goat. But this is Marc with the Cryptonaut Podcast. You guys, I'm sure, hear all the time about me talking about you guys. You get a lot of honorable mentions throughout the pod.
Yes, we do. Thank you. And really cool poems, too.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, really
I've
cool
got
poems.
a couple more that I was working on. I was doing one for, I did one for Spring Hill Jack.
Oh, cool.
And
nice.
I haven't released it because I didn't do the episode yet. So I was going to wait till I did the episode and then do the poem on the thing. And then the other one, it was like the Wendigo or something that I was working on it and I haven't finished it yet because, well, life.
Yeah, no, believe me, it just like our conversation there, it happens before you got sick kids, you got work stuff going on, you got baby bunnies in your backyard.
Yeah, I got baby bunnies. Like I'm like playing rescue. Like I literally have surgical gloves on, and I'm like scooping up this little baby bunny, and I'm like, babe, towel, babe, container, babe. Like I'm a freaking surgeon, and I'm like, snap, like let's do this, little guy. And then I was like, oh crap! I was like, I've got to put this guy somewhere where he'll be okay.
Right.
Because it's death sentence if I put him in the house. We have 2 dogs and 2 cats, one of which is, like you said, like an assassin.
Yeah.
And goes after anything and everything. And so I was like, I only know one place. The studio.
Now there you go. That's where it's safest.
So
there it is.
Now I have a pod buddy.
Nice.
I'm really hoping that he makes it. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. I didn't look. But if it's a boy, his name's gonna be Roger the rabbit.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Classic.
but I don't know if it's a girl. I don't know yet. So I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to set this up. I had a couple ideas, one of which was more interview based. But then I figured, you know what? I came across some really good encounters that I wanted to put out there and just kind of see how it goes. So a few different sources. And I guess, well, we'll get to the end of it. We'll just do all that shit at the end. So we can just dive in.
Cool.
And this first one I found on one of your guys' favorite sites, Anam Alien.
Yes, Rob absolutely hates that site. That's why I love bringing stories, especially if it's from what was that guy, Tom Sleeman? Oh, it gets Rob higher up so much.
My gosh! So this one is looks like somebody named Collier. but I don't know if that's in the thing. I don't know. I just was looking at different ones. This is one January 31st.
Oh, cool.
So this is a ways back. But again, January 31st, 2024. And this one says in 2007, Alex Collier said that he was taken by aliens and spent almost 3 months on a huge alien mothership, while only 18 minutes passed on Earth during this time. Collier was a former U.S. Army pilot and may have been one of the first U.S. military personnel to go public with his UFO and or alien sightings. According to Collier, it happened in 1989 while he was in an undisclosed location in a cornfield.
I mean,
I know, right?
What better
I'm from
spot
Indiana.
to be?
I'm from Indiana, so I literally grew up surrounded by cornfields.
Oh, nice.
And I had to chuckle at that because one of the worst. I don't do scary movies, so like when you guys talk about all your horror stuff, I can't do it. I just can't. But for one of my brother's birthday parties, okay, I don't know if I should say that on the air. Okay, we'll talk about that afterwards because it's a funny story, but I don't know whether or not I could get in trouble for it. So we'll just pass over that. But after we did that activity, that may or may not be possibly illegal, not sure. We watched Children of the Corn and then
classic.
Walked through the cornfield.
Yeah, no, that's like class. I mean, actually, even here, like in New York, like we always talk about like where we're located. It's like there's dairy farms and there's tons of corn mazes, and it's huge around here. Like my in-laws actually, they're surrounded by cornfields. So I mean, if there's an undisclosed location to be at, I suppose it's an undisclosed cornfield.
Yeah, and I'm like, who's just wandering around in a cornfield?
I have before, but I was never sober.
Yeah.
Ever.
Oh, we were kids.
Sober. Yeah,
so,
no, I was like an adult, like recently.
Like I was literally in like a tank top, a pair of like basketball shorts, barefoot, running through a cornfield.
Oh, geez, yeah.
I'm not a hillbilly or anything, I promise.
No, not at all.
Nah, never. But
that's awesome.
Anyway, so he was tired, and apparently he fell asleep on the field. Another questionable thing. And as he woke up, he found himself on board an alien ship and was lying on a table. Thought that was interesting. I was like, surprised.
That escalated pretty quickly. Just fall asleep. On a table. All right.
You're in the field. Maybe he was not sober.
Maybe life comes at you quick, I guess.
I can't even imagine. I really don't know what I would do. Maybe go kung fu, wet my pants. I really don't know. Now, the next part I have is a quote from him. And it says, quote, "As I lay on this table, there was a man who was very tall, maybe 7 feet tall, with pale blue skin and was physically flawless. All I could tell you was that I recognized these men right away, had no fear, and instantly adored them," end quote.
A bit of the old Mesmer there. That 7 foot tall blue, that kind of reminds me of I can't remember the president. I don't know if it was Eisenhower. It was oh my God, I almost said Indrid Cold, it wasn't. It was I can't think of the guy's name now. I literally just had it on my the tip of my tongue. Oh my God, Rob would kill me.
Well, the next piece
I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah, the next piece does say he lived there for almost 3 months, and says that on the ship were these so-called, oh my gosh, I'm gonna read like you. Andromedons.
Andromedans?
Is that right?
Yes.
Yep. Oh my gosh, from their galaxy. We're just not going to try that. But what I was getting was it says, they're physically flawless. I was like, wait a minute. So did he wake up with, I've got two things in my head, either the Blue Man Group or what was that lady from, I think it was Thor. Was it Thor? No.
It was
the blue lady?
It was. Yeah, so actually, thank you for saying Thor, because what the alien that I was thinking of was Valiant Thor, which he was supposed to be a large blue dude who was like an active member of he was obviously an alien, came down with the government. I forget exactly which. I think it could have been Eisenhower. I'm not sure. And he was just kind of hanging out in the government, like, yeah, I'm Valiant Thor, and he just kind of was chilling there, like tall blue dude.
Oh, I was thinking that the movies with the guy with the, oh my gosh, I am like, my brain is not working right now. With the glove, help me with the stones.
Oh, Thanos?
Yes,
Thanos.
And there's his quote unquote daughter that's like blue.
And
the sun that's blue.
Yeah, there's Gamora and
no, Gamora's green. It was the other one. I can't remember her name.
I can't think of her name. Yeah, she was awesome too. She was that cool like cyborg thing.
Yeah,
she was
that's
dope.
what I was thinking of. That and Blue Man Group. So one of those two.
It ends up working out.
Maybe they could do a little doo-wop or something.
Yeah, really. All right, so this guy's definitely
He's
in a situation, apparently.
Yeah, and then it says 3 months. And I was like, what the fuck does that even... Dear God, there's words on here I don't even know what the hell they are.
I have heard of incidences, though, where people, I mean, it's kind of like if you're talking about, well, the whole faith thing, I guess, is reverse, where like you go to like the fairies take you and they whisk you away and you're like, I was only gone for, a day, and you come back and it's like 75 years. But, if Earth time is like, okay, it's 18 minutes, but then you're like, I spent a lifetime on Jupiter. It's like, well, that's a whole space time thing.
Oh, so then if you want to feel like you've lived forever, you just need to go on a bunch of trips, right?
Yeah, that just seems to be so taxing. I mean, God,
it would.
So much shit to do. Like,
do you have to get like a new identity every time?
That would be such a pain. It'd be easier to die, honestly.
I think that would be
die.
I think
so much easier. Just like, fuck it, I'm done.
I'm like me in my 33 years so far. I'm going, oh fuck, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, no.
We'll just settle for a quick death.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy at 43. I'm not going back. It's not happening.
Yeah, we'll just go with it. We'll fly it and hopefully have regular human time.
Nice.
And then, so after this, he has another quote saying, during these 3 months, I had the opportunity to learn about their society and observe them. And I was also a little like a fish in an aquarium because many of themselves observed, oh my God, that's hard to read, observed me and listened to my thoughts. At that time, they taught their children information about our world.
So they were using the guy kind of like as an educational device for their kids, their alien children?
I
Interesting.
Think because what if it was somebody who was like mentally unstable and like a total nut job? And they're like, here, Susie, this is what Earth is. And
I mean, I guess it's kind of like, like when we obviously have zoos and shit set up so we can watch monkeys and giraffes and elephants. We can kind of like, check them out and where we learn most of our shit, I'm assuming, hopefully that they're treated well. So maybe that's what it is. It's kind of like a human zoo, they just kind of pick the dude up like, all right, well, let's check this guy out.
Yeah, so it immediately brought me to mind, there was a Twilight Zone episode where the guy, it was him and his partner, they crashed their ship on some planet and they're having a hard time getting out. But then the one guy is injured, he ends up dying, and the other guy comes out and then he sees that these aliens look just like him. And they're like, oh yeah, come with us. We'll get you set up. We'll take care of you. And they're like, here's your house. Here's some cigars. Here's a full fridge of food. And everything's fine until he goes to open the curtain for the window and he realizes it's bars and he's in a cage.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So
no, it seems like this guy's he's his own personal textbook, I guess.
And so according to him also, this ship was approximately 800 miles in diameter.
Ooh.
Now that would be, can you imagine? Let's just hope the supply closet isn't on the other side. Like, you mean to be out of toilet paper?
I mean, so if I'm in New York, like 800 miles is a hike. I'm almost to Florida, I think.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm just like, can you imagine? Like, how would you get stuff? Like, you need something. It's like, fuck.
I guess but if space time isn't really an issue, I guess size doesn't really matter. No matter what. If it's
maybe you could like teleport something. Yeah, maybe they got that power.
I mean, I would hope, or that sucks to have to travel that far just to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, because this one does say, so this is another quote from, these next three are actually going to all three be quotes from him. The outside of the physical ship stretched 800 miles, and this was due to the physical laws of the dimension in which it was located. So I think that makes a difference.
Oh, there you go, interdimensional.
Yeah. Inside it, other physical laws were in effect. The minute you stepped over its threshold, you found yourself in another dimension, and your physical shell had undergone changes. Then he says, they gave me a belt that I had to wear that held my atoms, molecules, and cells together. It literally formed a cocoon around me, but I touched them and they could touch me. That's a little odd wording.
Yeah. I guess, well, I mean, I'm no astrophysicist or any type of scientist at all. As a matter of fact, I work in wastewater, but that sounds to me like whatever dimensionally, wherever they are, that he has to have some sort of device to keep himself together, which I guess would make sense if we're in a 3D world and they're in whatever dimension, I guess. Well, I don't even know if that's a thing. I'm just pulling shit out of my ass here at this point. Like,
so when
like we did low rent Neil deGrasse Tyson over here.
Yeah, when we did the Goatman episode, my theory that I brought to the table was because they said there was like a portal to hell and there's all these portals and all this shit. And I was thinking, okay, so they say when you go through a black hole, everything gets destroyed virtually. It all gets pulled apart down to the very basics and then reassembles supposedly. Well, I think you spaghetti and you die. But if assuming you go through a portal, you get put back you get put back together on the other side.
Yeah.
And so my theory is what if just a regular farmer and his goat went through the portal, they got disassembled, and when they came through the other side, they got reassembled as the goat man. That was my theory. I tried to go scientific.
You sure did. Nice. I like that.
I was like, well, we'll go with it.
That's funny.
Here, this one does do a little bit more time. It says physically you felt lighter than them, taller than them, and had more energy. One of their days was equivalent to 31 days in our world. So they thought I was unwell because I had to sleep regularly. So I guess they don't sleep much.
Yeah. No.
Maybe I'm an alien.
Yeah, well, then again, if it's some weird dimensional time thing, I mean, all of our whatever rules that we have in our dimension are completely off the table. So to them, they're probably like, yeah, it's what's like, he's obviously dying because he has to sleep every day.
Yeah, they're probably like, what the hell? Is something wrong with you? What do we do with this guy?
Rob would work out great there because he just doesn't sleep. So there you go.
So yeah, I hardly sleep too. So this is one thing I did think was really funny. I'm trying to figure this out because he says, quote, they've come to see me because my family's genetic lineage goes back to them. And they told me that I was here as part of an outpost 62,000 years ago. I attempted to break up an argument between two other visiting aliens and was slain, which has placed me in the Earth's reincarnational cycle.
Oh, this got complicated. Okay.
Yeah, so shit just got real weird.
So he's a part of a hybrid program on a spiritual level?
So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Was he some byproduct of some sort of breeding program and didn't know it? So then they came to get him because he didn't know. Maybe he comes from a long line of, oh my gosh, help me out here. Signs. Crop circles. Crop circle makers.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Maybe his whole family, from 62,000 years ago, were all crop circle makers. And that's why he was in the cornfield.
But he was slain and then he came back. That's interesting. And then that's why they got him.
And it doesn't necessarily say he came back human.
He went right back into karma and reincarnation.
Yeah. I'm not sure, but if I saw like an alien in front of me, I don't think I would go reincarnation immediately. That would not be where my brain goes.
No, that's kind of I mean, I suppose anything's you can tie anything together if you really want to. I mean, I do on a pretty weekly basis. So I guess
I'm like, oh,
yeah. I mean, all right, cool. Well,
yeah. And so he says that those Andromedans, if I could say it right, live unusually long. And one of the beings he was with was called Visi, and they were 43,000 years old. And oh my gosh, I really don't know how to say this other than Moronius. That sounds better than moron.
Moronius.
Yeah, let's go with Moronius. That sounds better. Was about 1,700 years old.
Huh.
And at some point, a small metal object was placed on his head, after which various scenes from his past lives began to appear on the monitors on the walls of the ship. And the last thing it had was, quote, if this is the true nature of our universe and how it works, then we must realize that there is more to us because we are also connected to this process on most levels, if not all. And that was from Collier directly. And that's how he finishes that thing out.
Wow. All right. Well, yeah. The whole jumping into the whole spiritual reincarnation thing really does kind of put a new twist on it. I mean, generally the whole hybrid alien program, it's like, okay, yeah, they seed whatever, and then
like spider goat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, spider goat, my favorite.
I love spider goat.
They seed it out. For whatever, they always have some weird reason for it too. It's like with a lot of not a reason, but what people have reported their experiences when they're told the reason, it's always like some really weird, bizarre, 10-step process that doesn't make any sense. It'd be so much easier just to cut the shit and just get to the heart of it. But
it's either really long and drawn out, or it's
for no
get
purpose.
rid of your nukes.
Yeah,
love one another.
Yeah, like even the whole hybrid thing, like I don't know if they're I guess part of the theory there too is it's how we had a giant evolutionary jump was, through their hybridization, if I can say that word, program.
Nailed it.
Yeah, it took me a second there. But yeah, but then to tie it back into like the whole, karmic thing and like trying to, I mean,
well,
it could work. Honestly, it's cool theory.
Yeah, was the reincarnation his concept and his understanding of what happened to him, or did they tell him that's what happened to him?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What if this simulation? I know you love that.
I do. I mean, which makes more sense.
More than just us, and it's just a reboot. It's like when you kill your sim and you bring it back to life.
Yeah, maybe. If that is a weird, grander simulation theory, and then aliens are, whatever type of byproduct or inhabitant of the simulation as well, then yeah, I guess that would make sense. I mean, it's not like, I guess I said that the theory was kind of like out there and everything, but now that I'm thinking about it, no, there's definitely a whole, especially like,
oh my gosh,
shit. There's a huge tie in there with, if you go back to aliens like in the Bible and stuff like that, like Ezekiel's wheel. So yeah, I guess if aliens were described as angels back in the day, if that's your jam, and then here they are now, and they're taking you away to their ship. Yeah, I guess kind of like anything's possible with that. That's a deep one, though. Damn.
Okay. So what if I come up with some real weird shit? All right. This is what happens with my ADHD brain. So what if it all is some sort of simulation, right? And someone had to obviously create it. We can't just simulate from nothing. So something created us. We're all a bunch of Sims walking around, right? But what if aliens are not necessarily built by that person? What if they're hackers that take us and try to figure out what our code is?
Yeah.
And see if they can better their code to fit in. Maybe they want to take over the simulation.
Yeah, no, it's obvious. If the simulation is a possibility, then that would also be a possibility, kind of like the Matrix. So yeah, I could totally
talking out my ass here. I don't know.
No, I mean, when you get into simulation theory, the way that like it gets broken down, it's so like, because they're like, there's a lot of scientists that are way smarter than me. They're like, it's a pretty good probability. Damn it. Well, now what? Which my whole thing personally is like, even if this is a simulation, it doesn't matter to me because I still have to pay a mortgage.
Where's that Rosebud sheet, motherfucker? I want Rosebud. Give me the money.
I still got shit I have to do. I got to record episodes. I got to edit episodes. I got to post them. I have to go to work. I got to unplug pumps. I got shit that has to get done. So even if it is a simulation, I guess, I don't know, like, cool. It doesn't really change the outcome.
I was just thinking about that. I was like, what if it's somebody, and that's why they look so different from us, is because some other hacker or some other software programmer was trying to create something else, and that's why their people look different than the other one's person.
Yeah, I think a lot of it too. Who knows? Especially when you get into like AI, people are like, yeah, if we are in a simulation, it could be. It's kind of like a weird Inception where it's like, okay, a civilization gets to a point, it creates an AI, the AI does whatever it needs to do, then all of a sudden creates a simulation, and then it's an Inception of AI simulation. It just continually rolls down, which it's a whole hell of a lot. So
I'm not gonna lie, I started drinking a while ago, so I'm not sure I'm into that deep of a conversation.
It's a real deep rabbit hole where you really can't even get into it. Where you're like, all right, man, if that's what we're doing, I guess.
Like, sure. Find out when I die, I guess.
Rate and review us on iTunes. I guess. So there you go. Just keep them reviews.
All right, so this next one looks a little. Well, I guess it's not. It looks a little lengthy, but I think it'll be all right.
All right.
Ooh, it helps if I don't scroll too far. Fuck me. All right. This encounter was on Reddit and posted on March 21st. Locations undisclosed. Time was night. And the title is, I couldn't believe my eyes. I was on the hunt for some new additions to my already cunning collection of strange and specialty books at a local used bookstore nestled in the nook of the nearby strip mall when I noticed a massive man acting strange in the next aisle over. He appeared nonchalant and noticeably normal when he asked me for the time, but moments later seemed irrationally irritated, prompting the poor pedestrian of proficiently paced prominent patterns on a path of pathetic carpet like a petulant, panicking, pernicious pet.
Oh, God, this guy. Wow. All right. Well, he just put Rob to shame with his litter. Yeah, he just did it. There you go.
It was during this bestial behavior that I thought I heard him mumbling something that sounded like, I'll show you a demerit, over and over beneath his breath, as though he was threatening to go through some sort of threshold through his one front tooth.
Wait a minute. It sounds way too familiar.
It liked it too.
Oh, there There you go. What the hell is that?
Oh, those are my scissor balls.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So we had a little bit. They usually like jokes. So I was wondering how far in I was going to make it before you caught me.
Well, demerit threw me.
I know. I was like, oh man, he's going to guess with the demerit.
No, demerit guy. And then when it was through his like missing a front tooth, I'm like, I know this son of a bitch. That's awesome. That's so
all
funny.
right. I'll finish this one, but then I have another one that I found on. I have to pull it up. It's something about a bat woman. I gave him the time, but noticed a deviant development in the man in the few minutes that followed. His once dark yet eerie eyes started to shine almost yellow, radiating or reflecting some sort of light. Curiosity consuming compassionate side, I made my way around the end of the shelves to check on this husky and hazardously hectic human. He was pretty tall and very hairy, and I'm not sure if I would call it natural or not. I mean, the beard on this fucker would have made even the manliest of lumberjacks blush. And I don't know if he was special or really liked to work out in the 80s, kind of throwback, but he was wearing those cotton wristbands with the matching headband. Oh my gosh, I can't keep a straight face.
Oh my God, he's had those for. I'm like, dude, you got to wash those fuckers, dude.
Yeah,
those things got to stink.
Okay, so I began to feel uncomfortable also, and I hauled ass out of the bookstore without even stopping at the desk to tell the poor guy goodbye. I finally felt my heart rate slow as I started heading to the campsite my friends and I were planning to camp out at for the weekend. As my buddies Marcus and Christian and I sat around the flickering fire, enjoying some well-deserved beers and whiskey, we heard some noises coming from the woods. Something big was circling the site. In the middle of an argument about whether or not I could fuck in the standalone tent, Mother Nature made her call. While I was a few yards away, relieving myself, I heard a loud howl. I ran back to the campsite as fast as I could, only to notice my whiskey bottle was missing. And with the light from the fire and the help of the full moon, I could have sworn I saw a dog-like figure about 7 feet tall running on 2 legs, and I swear it was wearing the same clothes as the man from the bookstore. But what really gave him away were those hideous sweatbands now busting at the seams, reflecting in the moonlight as he bolted away, taking my fuck-sucking whiskey with him. What the hell was this thing? Has anyone else encountered this mysterious man in the bookstore?
That is Uncle Bobby. That's great. You had me for
trying so hard.
You really did have me for a second there. That's hilarious.
I was like, dang, I knew when I put demerit, I was like, I know he's gonna get it, but I had to put it in there.
No, I've been handing out demerits left and right. Although it was determined that I can't hand out demerits in our video room. So in our studio, we have it's set. There's our main room that when you walk in, and there's that's where all like the audio we record. We got our table, our mics, and everything on our mixer board. And then directly across from that is where like Rob sits. There's like a little doorway, and it opens up into like our whole video area, like a couch, a whole thing in there. Our producer our super producer Bill, our buddy Bill Schultz, longtime friend, and he's been helping us out doing videos. He can sit there too. So in that area, I cannot give demerits because that is Chris's area to give demerits. So I tried to give Rob demerits in there, and Chris is like, "Oh no, this is my area." I'm like, son of a bitch.
You were the referee out there. I'm the referee in here.
Yeah. So basically, Rob just has 2 angry dads that are just like, "God damn it, get your ass to the studio on time, you son of a bitch." Better yet, write episodes early, dude. And he's like, "Yeah, it's not happening." So
yeah, not happening.
Okay,
he's got to sleep.
We love him regardless. Yeah, exactly.
We do. Gotta love Uncle Bobby.
He's the best.
Okay. So this one is from, actually, I'm not gonna lie, I was totally stalking you guys, and I knew that on the Humanoids you guys referenced the site that had different encounters on it, so I was scoping it out, finding the right episode, trying to scroll through, found it, and got to the site and picked one from it. So nexusnewsfeed.com.
Oh yeah, that's a new one that I found. It's
amazing.
There's a ton of stuff, but they're basically like a giant aggregator. You have to go through them very carefully because some of the stuff it'll give you a cool like, oh, that's this awesome encounter with whatever a bat-headed goat, and then you get there, it's like some like wacky YouTube video.
Yeah, you open, you're like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
That's what I did a couple times.
Yeah,
but I landed on the strange winged woman of Vietnam in 1969.
Oh, I think I know this one. Cool.
Ah, damn.
No, dude, this is an awesome one. This is wicked.
All right, so the frightening and unique encounter with the Lady of Heaven is that right? Heaven? Yeah, Heaven. Took place at the height of the Vietnam War, and specifically Da Nang, a city on the south central coast of Vietnam. That's the nice start. All right. It was in August 1969 that a man named Earl Morrison.
Earl Morrison. Well, at least it was an easy one. I mean,
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Let me do it again. A man named Earl Morrison.
Yeah, I like that. That guy's smoking cigarettes, dude.
Dude, hardcore.
Sure.
He's got a big pickup truck. It's probably got rust spots on it. It's got the big lights that you get the spotlights for the deer.
The hunting lights. Yeah.
Yeah, the ball sack hitch. Yeah. He's got it all.
The truck
got
nuts?
a cooler in the back. Yeah.
Dude, truck guns and truck nuts. There you go.
Along with a number of comrades, got the shock of his lifetime. It was quite aptly in the dead of night when the threatening event occurred. And as the men stood guard, keeping a watchful eye on, oh dear God, Vietcongues.
Like a weird way of spelling Viet Cong.
Sure.
Oh
no,
yeah.
We'll just skip that word if we run into it again. How about that?
They're perfect.
Viet something.
That's what I do.
Right. Sorry, guys. Sorry if anybody's over in Vietnam. All was calm and normal until about 1:30. It was when the atmosphere changed and the mysterious way made his presence known to the shocked men of the U.S. Marine 1st Division. While a little reluctant to speak publicly, Morrison eventually changed his mind and in 1972 was comfortable discussing the incident, even if he wasn't comfortable with what he had encountered. His story makes for an amazing read. Well, I could have gone without all that shit, couldn't I? All right.
Welcome to Nexus Feed.
Woo! Along for the ride. UFO paranormal investigator Don Worley of Indiana. Hey.
Oh, nice.
I'm in Indiana. Conducted this interview in 1971 with a 21-year-old serviceman who described a very strange experience that he had near Da Nang, Vietnam in 1969. All right, so these are going to be like, it looks like I'm reading some kind of script for a fucking play. Witness. There were 3 of us, and suddenly, I don't know why the 3 of us looked up at the sky and saw this figure coming towards us. It had some kind of glow, and we couldn't be sure what it was originally. Starting to head our way pretty slowly, and suddenly we saw what seemed to be wings like a bat, only that was gigantic compared to what a normal bat would be. After we got close enough for us to see what it was, it looked like a woman, a naked woman, and the color was black. Right on.
Yeah, cool.
Free porn show, I guess. Cool.
Minus the wings and the flying.
Hey, whatever tickles your fancy. I'm not going to yuck their yum. I'm just saying. Okay, well, this is interesting because then it says, witness, his body was black. His skin was black. His wings were black. Everything was black, but it sparkled. He was glowing in a greenish type of night. Okay, one said it looked like a woman. The other one saying he a lot.
Interesting.
Then we switch back to she started walking over us. Well, that's interesting. Damn. I'm like, are they all laying on the ground or something? What's happening?
Yeah, what the hell?
And we haven't heard anything yet. She was above us, and when she went over our heads, she was maybe 6 or 7 feet tall. Worley then asked, what have you guys done? It's kind of an odd question, I think.
Yeah, weird.
Witness replies with, we could do nothing. We didn't know what to do. We just froze to death. We only watched what was happening because we could not believe our eyes. Worley then asked, didn't anyone shoot her? We found Marc.
Yeah. Took a couple shots at her.
Yeah.
Totally missed.
Witness, no, it's amazing what you do under certain circumstances. And we just looked at it. We couldn't believe it because we never seen anything like this before in our lives. Wow, work on your grammar. So we watched it come to pass. We looked, Jesus. We looked, it was right above us. Whew. And she didn't make a sound, flapping her wings. We didn't hear anything. She turned, oh my gosh, this is brutal. She turned out the moon because that was how close it was to us. It was dark, but we could still set it because it simply shone. Dear God in heaven.
Yeah, I do kind of remember this where it was up in like the moonlight and they could see it like above the trees.
Yeah. And it says, and she started walking right past us into our campsite. And we watched, and suddenly she was about 3 meters away, and we started hearing her wings flap. It sounded like normal wings flapping. That's exactly what it looked like. And she started moving away, and we watched her for quite some time.
Yeah, right.
Then they asked how she was getting that close, and they said it looked like she was just flapping the wings. She was way too slow. She blacked out the moon in literally it put IDK, maybe 10 seconds. So basically, they're saying she's slow as shit. She's all black.
Yeah, which is
she's sparkly.
Weird. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like that sounds like my eyeshadow. Like I don't know. Like this is weird. I could maybe do this. I could maybe pull this off with makeup. And they said, well, what makes you think that it's a woman? And the witness says, well, it looked like a woman. You could see she was naked. All right. So I'm going to assume maybe she was well endowed.
He saw some characteristics that made him think, oh, that's a woman, or, a dude with a sweet rack, one of the two. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, either way, I guess.
Whatever floats your boat.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah. Whatever you got
to do. Yeah. And then they said that they go on to say, her skin was black. And they didn't tell anybody because they didn't think anybody would believe them. So that's what I thought was interesting. Is because they said, did you tell anybody the next day? They said, no, nobody's going to believe us. Then Worley asked, have you officially reported this to any official? The witness says, then, of course, yes, for our junior lieutenants and executives. And they kind of looked at us with contempt and then walked away. Like we were on drugs or something. That night after it happened, we called the next perimeter post and asked if they saw anything in the sky. And when they said no, what are you talking about? We just shut up and said nothing else. Wow.
Yeah, I remember this encounter. I think we did this at one point.
Yeah, now that I'm reading it, I'm like, wait, this does sound familiar.
No, we definitely did. Yeah, because it was Janet and Colin Board. This kind of crossed over, though. I'm pretty sure it's different because there's like a Menanangal. I think I'm saying that right. And then there's like a swan. I think in the swan,
the ass wing,
yeah. The swan, they're different, but I think they're still they're more like folklorish. I think one of them's like a witch. I think like the Menanangal is the one that's like a witch, where it's like the whole winged humanoid phenomena, which has been happening for a while now. I mean, obviously you've got like Mothman and Owlman and all kinds of stuff like that. But this one in Vietnam was kind of interesting because it doesn't really fit into the standard of those, where it's like it's a woman. It has more like human-esque features.
Yeah.
And they can see it, but they can tell that it's like Vanta black, like blacker than black, but sparkly.
Yeah, I'm struggling with that. Not to mention, I mean, if they're out in the middle of like nowhere, it's dark. It's 1:30 in the morning. And I mean, how well can you even see this thing if it is jet black? Because I've seen something that is beyond blacker than black.
Right.
And the only reason I saw it is because it was, a foot from me.
Oh, there you go.
So it was right there, but had the lights been off, I probably wouldn't even have been able to see it. So I don't know. It doesn't really specify whether or not there's any additional lighting around. If they're at a campsite, it's just witnesses.
Yeah. So I found this quick little piece here. It says the entity was described as a floating feminine figure with pitch black skin. The woman's hair was dark and straight, and her large black wings may have a slight furry quality to them. Her arms appeared to lack bones, as indicated by their sheer flexibility. The entity also had a slight greenish glow around her entire body. That was what I think when I remember doing this episode originally, there was like a weird greenish glow around her.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. It said something about a green thing.
Yeah, that's a super weird hue. I mean, what I love about the winged humanoid encounters, though, is there's so many cool ones. Okay,
I agree. I just realized something. So that thing that I know I talked to it whenever we get your guys' camp story or camp, but when I went on there and shared. And this blacker than black thing that I saw when it was in my room, it had that bluish greenish hue to it. So maybe whatever it is related to whatever this thing is, which is kind of scary. But
I'm not
sure that makes me feel any better.
No, not actually makes it way worse.
I'm like,
possibly. I mean, or whatever that is. I mean, is that something that's like biological? Is that something coming off their body? Is that
what if it just stinks? It's like Pepe Le Pew, and it's got that green smoke.
I mean, sulfur. Like when people say, like, with demons that they smell sulfur. Like that one was always kind of interesting to me because it's like hell is just sulfur, because like I deal with really nasty smelling shit on a fairly regular basis, and sulfur is one of them occasionally, and that is rancid. Like,
oh yeah,
terrible.
like the worst dog fart in the world.
Oh God, it's beyond like meth. It's almost as bad as like methane or like leachate. Like
Yeah.
Landfill leachate is probably top three
Whew.
easily. But yeah, it's pretty gross. But yeah, the whole winged humanoid thing, like just the varying. There's so many different variations of like what people see, because sometimes you get like cool gargoyle stuff, or you get kind of like a Mothman. We covered a bunch of them. I think there was one that happened. I can't remember the exact case, but it was at like the Wisconsin State Fair. Somebody saw something that was like similar to a Mothman, hulking creature with wings. It's funny because it was like a Christian rock concert or something.
I remember you guys talking about that.
Yeah, I can't.
And he was like jamming out.
Yes, and I can pull all these things out of my like I can get all these things out of my mind, and I just can't nail them down at all because we're like
all right. I do the same
500 plus episodes.
Yeah, so I do the same thing, and I was just kind of looking at. I'm like, how well could you? I mean, it was close, and then at one point they said it was walking. At one point it's flying. At one point, I'm like, but it doesn't really say how exactly it takes off. It does mention maybe kind of fuzzy wings, but. Is that like the entire wing, just around the rim of the wing? Is it?
Like, does it have actual like feathers on it?
Yeah.
Or
does it look like a
weird,
stuffed animal? Like
like a weird bat wing. The whole weird mobility with the bones and everything is kind of interesting too.
Although she does sound like she could be a good time.
I mean, or a real pain in the ass. One of the two.
I mean, what if you turn the light on? She's like a disco ball. She's flexible. Then she'd be like the best stripper ever.
Yeah, or the worst. I don't know. It's gonna go either way. Really.
Yeah, your wings would like knock stuff over. Yeah,
depending on how she can communicate, if she can communicate, her attack stance, if she has one, I guess.
Oh my God.
Cool. She's like, hey, I'm here expressing myself on a pretty regular basis for money. Awesome. Here I go. Or she's just gonna go.
I wonder what her stripper name would be. Black Ice.
Oh, Black Ice. Yeah, kind of stage. Black Ice.
And
she
Cocoa
just comes
Puffs
out
or something.
all weird and like
super
Vanta Black with big
Black Falcon
wings.
or Black Raven. Raven.
Cool,
Raven. That's a good stripper name for her. There we go.
Yeah, there you go, Raven. I think I may know a couple of strippers named Raven.
What if? See, I'm on it. What if she is more of like a succubus?
Well, that kind of like along the lines of like an asswang or a manananggal. Yeah, sort of like these feminine. I mean,
because weren't the aswang's the one that comes out and it's got that tubey tongue and sucks the babies out of the pregnant girls, right?
Yeah,
like sucks them out of the belly. Well, yes. I don't know if she goes up the cooch or the belly. One of those two. One of the holes. It's coming out in a milkshake form. I don't know.
I think that's the aswan, where the manananggal is like the woman that like splits in half.
Oh.
And it's like some weird like curse. I think I'm actually going to look up. It's funny because when I went to look up a swan, I literally typed in ass wang.
Oh, did you in private browser?
No, I'm not. But I have a
ass
VPN,
wings,
so it's okay. Yes, the swan is an umbrella term for various shape-shifting evil creatures in Filipino folklore, such as vampires, ghouls, witches, viscera suckers, and transforming human hybrid beasts. Okay, so I'm looking at this thing now.
Dang.
This is the the manananggal, I think, is I can't spell this thing. Actually, I did an episode with Derek Hayes, and he had a caller that was in the Philippines and called in this encounter.
A mythical creature in the Philippines that is able to separate its upper torso from the lower part of its body. Their fangs and wing give them a vampire-like appearance.
Yes, that's the
so
word.
it's like a
where it's like
half
but it's like supposed to be like a cursed woman, I think. Where she like it's almost like a witchcraft thing where like she turns into this. So like she'll go out like at night, like she like leaves her house, she goes to wherever, and then like the torso splits.
Yes, this one's got the difference being the manananggal or whatever splits in half. The aswang is one piece.
Yeah,
that eats at night.
Yep. I think the manananggal that's like an Asian vampiric. Like Asian ghosts and like Asian vampires, that's like a part of their jam is doing that, which is super cool. Because I mean, like, don't get me wrong, Transylvania's a fine, but this thing kicks ass. Like, this is a really pissed off chick that splits in half. Like, cool.
It's cool, but I'm like, that's real fucked up. I'm looking at like these pictures of it. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah,
how does it get back together?
I'm pretty sure it just comes back and she just like reforms and boop. But I'm almost positive it's supposed to be like a curse or something like that. It's really interesting folklore though.
Yeah, I'll have to add it to my list of things to look up because I'd be curious to know Why in half?
Yeah, so the man in
Like, what's the
Angal is
purpose?
said to favor preying on sleeping pregnant women using an elongated proboscis long tongue to suck out the fetus. So this also crosses over with the with the Aswan as well. Huh, interesting.
So,
Yeah, that's cool, man. They Asian lore like that, like when you get into like yokai or like super cool shit, that is so awesome. Like
there's one that's the only way you know that she is what she is because her feet are backwards.
Yes. Oh, damn, I can't think of the name. But
yeah, I'm with you on this one.
Yeah, we were like, no, her feet are fucked.
Yeah, I'm like, I was like, I can't. Well, I've heard different ones. So I think there was one that I heard that was more like Vietnamese, that type, and then there was one that was specifically like, I would say like Chinese or Japanese or something. The one you guys talked about her that lured the men out in the snow. She would lure, I think you guys talked about her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she lures them out in the snow, but you can't tell.
Yeah.
And they would freeze to death. Yeah.
Yep. No, that's
a badass.
Yeah, that is pretty badass. But back to this Vietnamese Batwoman thing, like, yeah, it's cool because it makes me wonder, like, is this something along the lines of, some sort of a swan or Manananggal, or is it, is this actually like a biological? Is this like a cryptid? Kind of like how Mothman floats between the two. Like, is he some weird spiritual doomsayer, or is he like some just weird creature that happened to show up? So it's kind of neat, and I always appreciate the fact that when they get like the humanoid appearance, I think that's definitely always fun because is it a woman that transformed, or is it just some weird evolutionary offshoot that took to the trees, got super dark, refused to wear clothes, and flew around Vietnam for a couple of years?
Yeah, maybe she just like built those, like the paper and then sticks.
Oh Jesus! Yeah, it just made him herself.
She hot glued.
I'm watching your arm movements. I'm like, don't know what this is, but I like it. It's cool. It sounds like a cool way to travel.
Like an old-fashioned kite.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. This is your old-fashioned kite hand motion. I like it. That's cool.
Jeez.
That's
man.
Hilarious. That's so funny.
Well, one thing I thought was interesting was in this encounter, one of them says that she's about 7 feet tall, like she's this big bitch, but then they go further down and they're like, oh, maybe medium, like 5 feet tall. And they're just like, oh, she's naked. Then eventually somebody's like, basically, she had boobs. Like, we know it was a girl because she got tits.
Right. Yeah. So they're having zero luck trying to actually like get like identifiable features off of this, which I guess I've never been in the situation to try to like determine what something is, lack of tits there. Like, who knows?
I mean, I know plenty of girls that don't have tits. So, I mean
maybe the way that it's flying. I mean, if it's flying, it might be kind of hard just to tell as it's this is my flying motion right here for everybody. So as it's flying around, you might not be able to tell, what it has. Yeah, this is my like going like this. So the audio that doesn't help.
That's a turtle.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, so they could just have a hard time trying to just identify, aspects, which is it's kind of interesting because it does happen quite a bit though, where like something happens and someone tries to describe it and you get like a varying a mishmash of shit to people, which
eyewitnesses are not reliable, even in true crime.
I know
eyewitnesses are not reliable. And if she's flying, not to mention if she's flying and say she is, if they're doing motion, then whatever light source is probably because she is so low is above her. So they might not be able to, it might not be as glittery underneath the undercarriage. So maybe it's all just one black mass. So you can't actually make out any definitive features unless she lands and starts walking.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus being at night, plus you're under a whole ton of stress in the middle of a warp. So who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, anything's possible as far as like misidentification, which kind of brings it to what we always do, where it's like, all right, well, what could this skeptically be if it wasn't some, winged bat woman flying around? Could this be a regular bat? I mean, depending, on how big it is.
How big's the biggest bat? It's like
what,
3.5 feet tall?
What's that?
I think. Isn't it like 3.5 feet tall?
Oh, I don't know.
Like the biggest bat?
Could be. I mean, I've seen pretty big fruit bats, but I don't think they like come out. Yeah, I'm terrible with biology. It's not my jam.
This one goes to something about forearm length. I was like, I don't fucking care about that. Flying foxes are the largest bats, attaining a wingspan of 5 feet. Boom! I don't know why I know that. Probably from listening to you guys so many times.
That's from Rob, not from me.
I'm pretty sure I heard it from you guys. That or the Wild Kratts TV show. I'm not sure which. I love Wild Kratts.
Oh man!
But all right, so I might shift gears here because I do have one more story before I just wanted to ask you just a couple random questions, just because I got you here and it's going to be a good time.
Totally.
All right. So the next experience is they classify it as an alien sighting I found on Roast and Shopping Center in New York State. And title is, Did I Just See an Alien? Yeah. So we'll see.
Okay.
I don't know what to make of it. I started my trip to the mall last Saturday full of excitement. I had been waiting for months for the special edition release of Dune as part of the throwback pack for Game Shop store in our local mall was putting out that day. My wife, Nikita, already approved the purchase and wanted to get our son, Chandler, a newly released Predator Pop.
Oh my gosh.
I made it 4 lines in before I broke. Okay.
My wife, Nikita.
Yeah. I was trying to come up with something.
She okayed me to buy the Dune fuck bucket, but yeah, totally.
Okay. Woo. All right. Yeah, I had to take a little artistic license here.
Chandler.
I was trying to remember the kids' names and come up with something similar.
That's funny. Oh,
that's
good. That's good.
As I rounded the corner to the irresistible pop aisle, I was taken aback when I saw my son sitting on the floor with another child admiring the pop he selected. I simply blinked, and when I looked at the child next to mine, something seemed a little off. Behind those polarized pit vipers he had on, his skin had a green hue and was somewhat scaly. The apparent child smiled at me, showing a mouth full of sharp teeth. It was then that things got even more strange because I swear on my extra large all-American pickup truck that this son of a bitch reached up and pulled out one of its teeth, laughed, and put it back in. Yeah, okay, I'm trying. Whew.
Oh, no.
All right. Right after this, there was a flash of light and the kid was gone, leaving nothing but the pop he was looking at lying on the floor next to my son. I asked my wife if she had seen anything strange as she was standing just a couple feet away from the children. My wife seemed confused and did not seem to notice that anyone was sitting next to our son at all. She then panicked and began rushing us to the cash register because she said that she thought we were only there for about 15 minutes, but in reality, it had been about 45. Oh, hey, my lights are lighting up again.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
All right. So was this an alien child, a reptilian who lost its mesmer? Like, where the hell did it go? Did it disappear into another dimension? Or was it just a side effect of the overexposure to methane gas from an earlier dip in a pit of poop soup at my job?
No, definitely the methane. That's funny. Was the removing the front tooth and laughing, was that in reference to my tooth when I?
Yes, because your tooth, and you'd always say it would get dry and you had to get a drink.
That was like hell for I think it was almost like 4 months. I had to have I was like a front flipper.
Yep.
Before I got my permanent one, and that thing would dry out so hard on me. I actually when they finally put my implant in, I was
that thing's really going still.
Oh yeah, it is. Oh damn. I was kind of like, should I keep the front tooth? And they're like, for what? I was like, memories. Just because this thing's a pain in my dick. This thing just causes so many problems trying to. Especially, I remember trying to do ad reads with that thing. Oh my god, it would constantly like this like I would like air would pass through weird. It was such a
I forgot
thank God for dental implants.
There was also this newsreel that I found, and I'll play it into my mic here. Hopefully, you can hear it very well. Turn my volume up.
Thanks, Sean. Reports have been flooding in over the last 36 hours as a manhunt has been underway. The man in question was participating in some sort of bubble boy experiment for those with weakened immune systems. And against all odds, an eyewitness reported this man standing just outside a wooded area in Iceland. When authorities questioned, he refused to leave, stating that he was flying a drone with a camera to obtain footage that would leave the world speechless. When police looked over the man's shoulder, they were shocked to see a naked man who appeared to be wandering around the forest holding a box of Keebler cookies. Both men have been arrested pending mental evaluation. And I dare say, the world is in fact speechless.
Were you able to hear it?
There was a naked dude holding Thin Mints?
So there was a man who I guess was some sort of part of an experiment of like a bubble boy, right? So they took all these guys that got sick all the time and they put them in these bubbles trying to make them better. The guy escapes and they find him because an eyewitness reports him right outside the wood line with a remote control. And when the police went up to talk to him, so then they look over his shoulder and they see this naked man with Keebler cookies walking around the woods.
This sounds familiar now. It took me a second. I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
I was like, what, the whole thing, you didn't get it yet. I was like, whoa, that ain't pretty good. And so then they said that they took them all and, got you guys for mental evaluation. So
I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. But yeah.
Well, I had to put Chris in there because the only thing he made it was at the campsite as Christian. So I was like, I got to come up with something more for Chris.
The campsite as Christian. He rolled his eyes, he sighed, and he went, I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to see if I could figure out how to do some sort of like old timey English accent, but I couldn't figure out how to do it because that's what I always hear him do on the episodes.
Or just he looks at you disappointingly, where he looks at you with a shocking amount of disappointment, and you're like, damn it, he's right.
And I was totally right. Like, how do I put him in here? How do I? Oh, look, it's really going now. I was like, how's it going? What do I do? So I put it together, and nice. I had a good time. So
very nice.
I was really hoping that I could slide a few in on you that wouldn't be super obvious.
Well, that last one got me for a second. I'm like, Ben mentioned he's naked. What the hell?
That's why I specifically said Keebler cookies.
Oh,
because they're elves.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I heard the elf. I heard the elf reference. Then I thought it was like elf sex or something for some reason. Mm-hmm. Oh, was it? Okay, you used Iceland.
Okay, in theory, it's Chris controlling the droid or drone.
Okay.
And you're wandering the woods naked, hiking for elf sex. That's what it was.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Nicole, is this okay? All right, fine. Here we go. That's hilarious.
But yeah, I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, what do you do? I was like, I've got to come up with something. But we had a couple legit ones in there too, just to have a good time, cover all our bases.
Yeah, definitely.
I was gonna ask, just because I like to ask everybody some questions, just out of curiosity. So I know that from listening to you guys, Rob's pretty much a Loch Ness fan.
Oh, he
big Loch Ness fan.
Yeah.
I know that Chris, I don't think gives a fuck.
He gives zero fucks. Yeah.
Pepe likes centaurs.
She loves herself a horsey boy.
Anything with a horse.
Yeah, apparently.
I almost made a story about somebody who broke into a horse farm. I almost did it, but I was like, you know what? I was like, I won't do it. I was like,
if it's was Adam Driver's her jam, right? If it's Adam Driver in a horse, she's there. She's ready to. She's prepared.
What is your favorite cryptid?
The Flatwoods monster, I would say. Actually, you can see if in the camera right there, there he is. Yeah, no, the Flatwoods is probably, I like that one. It crosses. I mean, it's probably more alien than cryptid, honestly. But I mean, I would put it in that category too because it's mentioned quite a bit. But no, that's probably like one of my favorite encounters ever. I mean, the Mothman was up there for a while, but just the Flatwoods is how brief it was, how weird it was, and just like the sheer terror and size of that thing is awesome. And it's this cool, sometimes it's described as this cool mechanical thing that just has like this crazy, noxious gas coming out. Kill the dog, which is not cool.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it's probably my favorite. It was a Mothman for a while, but I really do love the Flatwoods monster. I have so much Flatwoods.
This thing really likes you. All of a sudden, it's like jamming. It's happening. It just keeps going.
You got some little, you got some Fresnos back there.
I do. So these little Fresnos, I got the felt one at CryptidCon last year.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Actually, all of these photos I got from CryptidCon last year. I actually made these little guys.
Yourself two little. Oh, cool.
I make those.
You can't see mine. It's. I don't know if I can even show.
Oh.
It's way.
Where's my?
Can't see it. Yeah, it's way in the back there.
Here's my little.
Oh, you got a little Mothman. Oh, that's adorable.
I have a big one and a little one.
Oh, yeah, I saw those somewhere. Where did I see those? I saw those.
I make them.
Oh, do you have them for sale?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Did I come across your Etsy store and not realize it?
So I don't have an Etsy store. I thought about making one, but when I looked into it, it was ridiculous. They were like, you have to pay to get an account. You have to pay for a listing. Then they get to pay for the. I'm like, I would have to charge someone like $200 to make $5 off this thing.
Yeah.
And it's like these little guys too.
Oh, cool. You got some little grays over there. Oh, no.
So I got a green one and grays. I have grays. The other ones are all grays. They're hiding.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
And then my skeleton guy back there's for somebody else.
Oh, nice. Oh,
but
cool.
I have little
wicked.
tags. Adopt an alien.
Cool. Oh,
and they have like favorite food and stuff on the back.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
I love I love how people do like really cool like handgun craft stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah, like
we get it sent to us all the time at the studio. We have such a cool collection of stuff.
Yeah,
so much cool stuff.
And well, I did it for a long time, and then I just quit. And then I actually had somebody was like, "Hey, I know that you used to crochet forever ago. I don't know if you still do. Here's this book with all these patterns in it, and I've got just like the Mothman and stuff and the Fresnos." And so I thought about doing Nessie, but I was like, well,
no, you should totally do it. No, definitely. That's wicked.
Because I want to take them with me to the conventions I go to.
Oh, cool. Nice.
So
awesome. Yeah,
I want to figure out a Bigfoot. Oh, there goes another one.
That'd be kind of cool. So so when you go to conventions, do you go there like as your podcast? Do you like go as a vendor? Like, oh, cool. Nice.
Well, so my first one I went to, it was just me. I was just going to just kind of dip my toes in. I was like, I don't know how big this is going to be. I don't know how it's going to work. I'm just going to try it and see what happens. And it was amazing. I actually ended up working at another podcast couple that I know. I ended up working their booth with them like the entire weekend almost, and met tons of people.
Nice.
And then I'm going to Paracon in May. And then September, I'm doing Indiana Bigfoot Conference, and I'll have a booth there as a vendor.
Nice.
And then I'm waiting to hear back on CryptidCon to see if I'll have a booth there or not. Either way, I'm going to go. But
right. Oh, that's kind of cool. So you have like a whole like schedule set up.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. So if anybody wants to help donate, please do, because I'm a broke bitch. So I'm actually in between jobs right now. So
there you go. Yeah,
I just got it. Oh.
Yeah, I think I saw a thing on the Discord you were saying where you got going for like a job interview or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Nice.
So hopefully it went well. I'm hoping I find out soon. But cool. I completed it this morning. So there you go. All right, another one. So do you, between you and Chris kicking each other's asses down the hallway or whatever, like putting spells on thermometers or thermostats, do you have any paranormal type situations?
I mean, it's hard to say because I've had weird things happen, but I don't, at the time I might be like, that's, kind of odd. I don't know 100% if they're paranormal or not. My job, actually, I've talked about this a couple of times on the pod, is allegedly haunted by a dude who had died there many years ago. I believe it was like back in the 40s. There was an outside incinerator and the guy had fallen down the steps and they found him in the morning. I mean, the incinerator, what they would actually do was the sludge, the shit, basically, they would burn it. And this incinerator was maybe like, I don't know, 30 or 40 feet. It wasn't enormous for an incinerator.
Yeah.
And he was walking up the stairs. He was walking up, whatever, something happened, slips, falls. They find him in the morning. He's dead. Over the years, people have said that they've seen him there. I used to work second shift exclusively, like 3 to 11. That was my jam. That's all the only shift that was available to me at the time. And I would spend the entire night walking around listening to podcasts. And I have, but it has like the transparency on my headphones at the time. So I could like still hear outside noise. Yeah. And I think it was, I forgot what building I was in, but I heard someone say Marc. And I was like, whoa, like what the, and I was the only one there. I'm like, what the fuck? But to be skeptical about it and there's noises constantly. You've got air compressors, you've got bell presses, you have hydraulics, you have pumps, you have all kinds of shit going on, breakers turning on and off. So it could have been anything. But the other interesting thing that happened there, and actually I had a coworker of mine with me at the time, one of the other guys, my buddy Eddie, he retired a few years back. We were at the bell press, we were running it. We have like where we were, there was like a work area above us on like the next floor. It was like almost like a maintenance type area with old equipment and shit. And we heard a bandsaw kick on. We're like, wow, like what the fuck? And I like looked at him and I'm like, is somebody up like in the polymer room, like fucking around with something? Because it was just him and I there. And he's like, no, why? I'm like, the bandsaw's on. And he's like, and he's listening. He's like, holy shit, it is. I'm like, yeah, what the fuck? So him and I go up there like, someone's up here messing around. What the hell? He's thinking someone came in off shift fucking with us or something. We get to the stairs and it stops and we're like, oh, okay, they're up there. Let's go see what they're doing. And we get up there and nothing. There was no bandsaw. I mean, there was a bandsaw up there, but there was no indication it was moving. It wasn't plugged in or anything. So which it's weird. It's odd. It could have been, who knows? There's nothing really. Those two stick out to me. I mean, the last one I think that really stuck out to me. I was living in an apartment at the time, with my girlfriend, and we had a dog, and his name was Thomas. And he was this funny. He looked like a cross between a bat and a pig, pig bat. And we were in an upstairs apartment, and him and I would walk down the stairs, and we would like let him out or whatever. I was bringing him out for a walk, and I get him down there, and we're at the very bottom of the stairs. I hear someone go, Thomas. And we both like, huh? And we both like looked up.
We both looked
up the stairs, like, what the fuck is that? Like, what? So I thought that was kind of weird.
That's interesting.
But again, I mean, I don't know if the dude downstairs was home or not. He was a nice dude. He was a really fucking weird dude. So I don't know if maybe he was like, if
Just
he
a
was there
creeper?
messing around. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I've had a couple of smaller paranormal things happen. Nothing really super duper nuts, but it's one of those things like, I don't know, man. I don't know if it is or not. I'm not really sure. At the time, I was kind of like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, like a lot of times, there's a lot of stuff that does seem kind of just strange.
Yeah, where you're just not really sure. Like, is that something that's actually paranormal? Am I,
am I losing my mind?
Yeah, and I mean, even like taking hallucinogens or something. Like, you kind of have that weird gray area where you're like, well,
I'm always very big on that, which I tell everybody. So all the stuff that happens to me and all of my, I'm like, I barely drink ever. This little drink I have in my little Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy cup, it's not even halfway empty, and I filled it up 3 hours ago.
There you go.
I don't smoke pot. I don't do anything. Like, it's all just me, which is good God. I don't even know what would happen if I did take something. I would probably lose my mind.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I see demons and shit already, and I'm sober.
Yeah,
so.
if you're already seeing it, then that's probably not great.
Ugh.
Yeah, I've never really had I've never really had anything too, super crazy supernatural happen to me, which is funny because that's the show that we do. But
you guys primarily, I feel like you focus more on the cryptids, like the animal type cryptids, or like the alien type stuff. I mean, you never take Satan off the table,
Yeah,
but
we don't ever really do a whole ton of ghost stuff. Which we just, I mean, I was into ghost hunting for years. Like for years, I was into ghost hunting.
It'd be interesting for you guys to get together and do like a ghost hunt and like do some sort of live thing while you're there. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Actually, our studio now is located right near like one of the oldest cemeteries in our city. So like we're literally like when I walk out the back door to go to my truck, it's like right there. Like it's right across. So we could totally go there and do it. But we don't really cover too much supernatural stuff. But I've never had an encounter, with an alien or a cryptid. I've seen some pretty weird things in the sky here and there. Yeah. But I mean, again, a lot of that's, and I honestly don't even know what I would do if I had a paranormal experience.
Yeah.
So
from experience, I can tell you a lot of, well, it depends. The first couple times you're more like, did I, like, you question it, right? So you try to run it through. And like for my first ones anyway, I mean, one, I was literally face to face with something that I don't think was human. I think it was pretty demonic and dark. And I still didn't panic necessarily. Like I just, it was weird, but I didn't panic. And then after that, it was like, I saw a full body of a little girl, and I thought it was like a real person. I thought it was a friend of my little sister. I really, at first, until she kind of vanished, and then I realized she had no eyeballs. I mean, aside from that. Yeah. And then I was like, that was weird. But then now, because so much weird stuff, like even last night, they wake me up in the middle of the night. It's like night before last. I couldn't sleep. I woke up and it just felt like something was like right next to me, and it was not letting me go back to sleep. So I actually came out here and got these balls, and I set them off set them up in my house and just did a TikTok live in my house because I couldn't sleep, because I was like, I feel like it's in here. And this kitchen, like in my kitchen, the light just kept going and going and going. So something really was out there.
So they like react with those sensors? Is that what that does?
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
I think I've seen those before.
Yeah, they're totally cool. If you move it, it trips it and it makes them light up.
Oh, cool. That's kind of interesting.
So
when I was doing ghost hunting stuff, actually what was kind of neat, and I don't know if I've ever really talked about this in the show or not, but the woman that I used to ghost hunt with was as far as I know, and she did have a couple of really weird incidents happen. She had claimed that she was like a psychic medium. And I didn't really have a reason to doubt her, even though I don't necessarily know what in the fuck is behind being a psychic medium. But she was super cool. She was very professional. She ran like her whole business. How I found out about her is a bunch of people had gone to her. And I was talking to her about ghost hunting and stuff. She's like, yeah, why don't we just go out and kind of check it out? And she would kind of like feel around for stuff. And I tried to remain pretty skeptical about stuff. But we checked out a couple of, cool different spots and stuff like that. Some photographic evidence stuff that was all, orbs and dust and stuff like that. Even like audio and video, like nothing really, too crazy, but I think it was just more fun to kind of get out there, like, exploring stuff in doing it. And it was funny because that was like, during like oh shit. I mean, it was probably in oh my God, 2002, 2003, maybe. It was a long time ago. It was a
long time
ago. Yeah. I mean, like phone cameras were not
the old peanut phones.
Yeah, but she had a bunch of like really cool experiences with stuff. I think a part of me wanting to go do the ghost hunting with her, especially, was like, I want to have a paranormal experience. I want to have something happen. And, the couple little things that I did have happen, I was kind of like, oh, it's, sort of interesting, but nothing really, super duper concrete. But, I mean, I'm still young. So.
Yeah, that's why I set these up here, because so I have my hands here or I have them in front of me on my table. Right. So I'm not, and that's 2.5, 3 feet behind me. So there's nothing. And right behind it is just a wall. Like, I mean, this is a wall and a wall like this. There's nothing. And it's just me out here. So when something flips one of those and it goes off, there's nothing. I mean, and clearly it's been sitting here this whole time and nothing's set it off. So something's obviously having to go out of its way to set it off, which is why I like doing that. And just because, but then, after it happens so long, you just kind of get used to it, I guess.
Heard from people that have experienced it is they're like, it just kind of becomes a part of my day to day. And I'm like, man, I don't know, dude. Like, you don't put so many questions for me.
Like, I literally, it'll be like the middle of the day or whatever, and I'll hop out here, I'll turn my sensors on, turn the lights down. I'm like, all right, everybody. And like, we just do spirit box sessions, and I'm like, what's up? And my lights will flash. And
pretty cool.
I
think it was the Newkirks that they were doing that like Estes or Estes method.
I tried that. I tried it once. I had a hard time. Man.
Yeah, it seems like
I have issues with my ears. Since I was a kid, they used to put tubes in my ears all the time, and they did it so often that now. Thank you.
Oh, there you go.
Hello. But every so often, it's now got too much scar tissue, so they can't put more in. So gotcha. I have a hard time with, if there's any other noise going on, I can't focus on something, especially if it's quieter. I can't sift through the noise very well. So whenever I was trying it, it was, a lot of staticky, and then I couldn't make out the words that were coming. I mean, there was something, but I couldn't make out what it was, and then it was just kind of frustrating.
It's kind of neat. It seems like it's like a whole new method of trying to, communicate. And
I've seen it. Yeah. So before I did mine, why can't you have balls of steel like me? Oh yeah, you thought that was funny. Thanks.
So man, puberty sucks, man. Oh, see, I'm a softie. I'm such a sensitive softie.
Okay.
Oh my God.
When I don't take my meds, I have lots of emotions.
When
I take my meds, I'm kind of like numb. I don't, which is funny because which I think is why I don't like this whole empath thing, because I can feel what you feel and I don't like to feel feelings. So I don't really like people, like a lot of people, because it makes me very uncomfortable. But anyway,
fair enough.
What is your favorite conspiracy?
Oh, this is a big one, because I do love the fact that the moon might not be real. But I just like pissing Rob off so much with that thing. It's great because he gets so fucking mad about it. Conspiracy, favorite conspiracy. There's so many of them. Probably, I mean, Denver Airport is one of my favorite ones because they're kind of like open with it. They're like, hey, welcome to the Denver Airport. By the way, here's some weird shit that you might have heard about us. Yeah, actually, probably Denver. I love the whole Denver Airport thing. How they have that really cool blue horse outside.
Yep.
A lot of the art and the murals and stuff that are in there is really interesting, which honestly, if you look at it, it's just really cool modern art. Like, and I love art. So when you see, especially like some of those murals, that weird like World War III thing they have going on, like real gnarly. But, allegedly there's, I don't know how many floors beneath it, that's like a secret government base. People said that there's possibly aliens.
Yeah. Don't they have another one at Dulce?
Yes. It's kind of like, it ties into like Dulce. It's kind of ties that whole idea. And yeah, I think probably the Denver Airport. I mean, there's so many cool conspiracies out there. It just, when I got into conspiracy theories, it was like Behold the Pale Horse. And it was like reading like William Cooper. And you're reading it and you can kind of like see where he starts to like, you're like, okay, all right, yeah. And they're like, oh, and it goes zoop, and it just dips down.
Like, I get it. Yeah, this checks. Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. Then you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, then you go, fuck, we lost him.
You're like, what happened?
Yeah. But I mean, even like being a kid, like the whole like JFK thing, like that was huge.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then, dude, when you get into like the fake moon landing, you're like, dude, my mom is so into the fake moon landing.
What? That's awesome.
She's my favorite. She's the best. She just goes on and on about how the moon landing wasn't real. And then she watched the whole Kubrick thing, and she's like, "I told you, Stanley Kubrick." It's fucking, my mom is the fucking best.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And unfortunately, now conspiracy theory is kind of like a whole thing that happened, and now it's like we recently did one. It was the Reptoid, the Mississippi, Fear and Loathing in Mississippi, the Reptoid Terror, I think. Yeah, we did that, and it's funny because we put our episodes out. I think there's like reptiles out.
Yeah, it's like
we put our episodes out, on like audio platforms, like Spotify and Apple Podcasts and whatnot. But we also have a separate video that we do, just audio, that goes up on YouTube. And YouTube immediately flagged it, where they were not that we couldn't have it up, but they were like, "Hey, reptilians," and they gave us this whole breakdown of like reptilians and everything. So
what? Yeah,
because it's like it's not like it's misinformation, but because they said that they were trying to give it like context, which we've had that happen before for when like we cover stuff. They're like, "Hey, just so you know," and they give you like a context breakdown of it, so that people that are listening to it aren't freaking out about reptilian aliens coming to get you and stuff like that.
Or maybe they still do.
Yeah, maybe. But, the internet's an awesome thing, and you can open up and you can have fun with people, but then you have people that can't goddamn have fun, and then they fucking ruin it for everybody else.
Or they take everything seriously.
Yes, and then it's like, man, you gotta understand there's a part of conspiracy theories where you jump off. That's the fun part where you're like, you're fucking nuts, and you jump. Like, that's,
and then you watch where it goes and crashes.
Yeah, it's not a way of life, man. I mean,
but there's people out there that live in those tinfoil hats, and they live to get all that information, and they just are nuts.
Some people will get wrapped up in it, and they make terrible fucking decisions, and they do really dumb shit, and they hurt other people, and that's fucking awful. But I want to.
So did Jeffrey Dahmer, but that doesn't mean that everybody can't be gay.
Well, that's true. Yeah, speaking of true crime,
go to bars.
Jeffrey Dahmer, one of my favorite serial killers, is a weird thing to say. It's seriously a weird thing to say, but it's because I was a kid when it happened, and it fucking blew my mind. And then I went fucking so deep into Jeffrey Dahmer territory that I was like blown away by it.
The Jeffrey Dahmer thing. So I actually I think it's I don't know if it was part 1 that got released this week, or if it's in the last part of I just did the Zimbabwe Goblins.
Oh,
and
nice.
I had made a comment that the Sangomas drill a hole in their head and then take their eyes out and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, what if Jeffrey Dahmer was making Tokoloshis? Because he was drilling holes in their head.
Yeah, Jesus.
Which is probably a little too soon, but
yeah, it's definitely.
There's lots of disclaimers in the beginning, but so there's that. And oh my gosh, I was going to tell you something else. What was it? You thought that was funny? Thanks.
There you go. I'm trying to think of more conspiracy stuff. I mean, it was I used to love. The History Channel would always have America's ancient history of bullshit or whatever. It's so much fun shit on there, man.
Aliens.
Yeah, and then obviously the whole alien conspiracy thing that we're currently living through is kind of interesting. But
oh man, there was something I was going to tell you. I was talking about goblins. There's something else. Damn it! I feel like it was like a really good point too, but I can't fucking think of what it was.
The Zimbabwe Goblins are wild. Oh, that shit is nuts.
Oh my gosh, I had so much fun doing it. It was phenomenal.
And it's, for them, culturally, it's just like a way of life. That shit just happens.
Oh, I know what it was.
Oh, what do you got?
My husband.
Okay.
Lived in Chicago and was about the right target age, around the same area as John Wayne Gacy.
I was just gonna bring up Gacy. Holy shit! No way. Really?
Read your mind. Yeah. He was like He was like the prime age, same area, everything.
Oh man, it's funny. I was just watching. Well, it's a spoiler alert, but it's not really a spoiler. But John Wayne Gacy was recently referenced in that that new HBO series, Quiet on the Set, about the Nickelodeon thing. He was referenced in there a couple of times, actually, with a extremely fucking problematic person. Yeah, true crime is like I don't really talk about it too much, but like obviously I'm a fan of like Last Podcast on the Left. So like, and my wife is huge into true crime. Like I'm just waiting for her to kill me one day. Like this is gonna happen. But like
my husband says that about me too.
Yeah, I go deep into true crime stuff, and yeah, I mean Dahmer was one of those ones though where you're like, God damn, like this guy somehow like something happened to him. Like he didn't, maybe he was born that way. Maybe he had like a head, mostly like a head injury that just ended up sending him down this fucking insane path where you're like, well, I feel weird.
I think a lot of them were the victim of
killer, but
they were a victim of the times too, because if you've noticed, a lot of serial killers, I mean, a lot of the big hype on serial killers, I mean, aside from like Bundy and all of that, they were homosexual. They was around the same 20-year time span where it was obviously not okay to be gay. And so on top of all of this other stuff that they're dealing with, they're trying to fight that part of them on top of everything else. And there's all that spinted rage and all of that. So I feel like it's, even if it is nature versus nurture, I think a lot of it is just a victim of the times. And maybe that's why we don't deal with that as much now, because people are, I mean, it's still not completely open, but it is a lot more acceptable now than it was, the 50s, 70s, that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. No, 100%. I mean, that's come like leaps and bounds for sure.
Man, this thing's hopping.
I remember watching a couple of different series on John. Well, obviously listening to different podcasts, but watching the stuff and hearing him talk, you're like, fuck, this guy's just a shit heel. Like, oh God, it's terrible.
And he fooled
like,
so many people.
He did. Yeah, it's I think it was Netflix that had that John Wayne Gacy series on there.
There's that on regular TV. I'm trying to remember what channel it was on. One of the, not Marky Mark, but his brother, I think. He did a show called Very Scary People.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh shit. Yeah.
That show is really good. I really feel like they have a lot of good information on it. So
it wasn't Mark Wahlberg. It was Donnie. It was
the brother.
Mark, or was it Don? It was Donnie.
No, it was the other one.
Yeah, because Donnie is Mark from
Marky Mark's Ted.
Yeah, and but he's not the one that Donnie was in New Kids in the Block.
Sure.
He had to be. Do you know about the New Kids in the Block?
I know the name, but I don't know anybody's name in it.
When I was a kid, it was huge. It was just these dudes just dancing.
Yeah. Well, I know like a lot of like music and stuff, but I can't tell you. I mean, I can't even tell you the people in Sync or Backstreet Boys. I don't know what their names are. I just know the band.
Because like the New Kids in the Block were like way pre in Sync, and I mean it was huge. Like, oh my, I'm trying. I can't remember. Rob and Chris would definitely know their names.
I can't even tell you the people that are in the Beatles.
Really?
Yep. I have no idea.
Well, I mean,
I'm not good with names.
I'm trying to think if I can. I'm like, there's George Harrison, there's John Lennon, there's Ringo Starr, there's Paul McCartney, and then there was the drummer, I think, before them that they booted out or something. Yeah.
Your guess is as good as mine.
I think I'm close. I think I nailed the Beatles.
Yeah. I would say insert applause here. I always laugh because my husband will be like, don't you know him? And don't you? I'm like, give me a movie, give me a name. Like I can tell you their character name and if they were in a show or something,
right?
But I can't tell you what the real fucking name is.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Shit. Well,
yeah.
Awesome.
I'm horrible.
That's great.
I'm horrible.
That's awesome.
I mean, let's think about this. I was like an unmedicated bipolar redhead.
Oh, you are a firecracker.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of people that people to this day in my town literally will walk far around me if they see me coming because I was very, very not nice.
That's so awesome.
I'm better now, but
ready for war.
I was like a raging monster, and like all you had to do is look at me wrong, and it was on.
No, man.
Yeah.
Damn.
Filled with hate and rage.
Yeah, there it is. No, same here. Then I let that shit go. So
I got to whip up some stuff to feed this rabbit and go play emotional support dog. Thank you so much. I am so happy that you're on here. And I made it all episode without screaming like a little girl, except I did do it for like a second in the beginning, but I'll take that out. But I really appreciate it. And again, everybody, if you're listening, and I mean, if you're listening to this episode and you've listened to pretty much any of my other episodes, you already know that I love these guys, and it's the Cryptonaut Podcast. And if you haven't listened to them, what the fuck are you doing? Go find them, listen to them. I have no shame in stating that I have heard every single one of your episodes, including your Patreon episodes, at least 3 times each.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. Well, whenever I turn my phone on at work, I can't take it out. So it literally plays and plays and plays and plays and plays. And it just keeps going. So I'll scroll through. Well, at first I listen to them all in order. And then I would just scroll through, find a random episode. And then for 8 to 10 hours a day, you guys would just be on repeat.
Oh, that's awesome.
In my headphones. So, and the best part is, it's still not old. So go over and check them out because they are fan-fucking-tastic. And
awesome.
I'll be sharing this pretty much everywhere. I'll tag you guys in it whenever I get it posted. But I'm still just like, oh my gosh.
Well, thank
it's like
you.
having a movie star on my show.
Oh, Jesus. No, I wish. Believe me. Yeah,
Except I need Uncle Bobby to listen to that first story I showed you so that he could know that I threw out some alliteration like a motherfucker.
Definitely. I will send him the link.
I worked 10 minutes on that one sentence.
Definitely had some alliteration in there for sure. Well, thank you so very much for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you for the support, listening to our show. It's awesome. It's so cool to actually like talk with listeners and everything. Mm-hmm. It's a super good time. And we appreciate you can find us, wherever you get your podcasts at and the, the social medias and the whatnots where they're doing it. So yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Oh, it's awesome.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you. And everybody else, well, I guess I'll talk to you guys next time. See ya.
See ya. Peace out.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy. If you wouldn't mind, please take a moment and rate and review the show wherever you're listening. I know it might not seem like much, but it greatly helps the show by allowing us to be found more easily when other listeners search for us. If you have a chance, head on over to www.patreon.com/Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy and become a patron. Members of the Big Show tier get bonus materials, personalized shout-outs, access to the private Discord server, and video versions of episodes, both regular and members only, that are raw and unedited. So they're always a good time. As an added thank you to the Big Show patrons, we also are going to be giving out custom stickers and mini prints after 3 months of membership. I'm currently offering a 7-day free trial, so head on over and see how awesome being a member can be. Before you go, click the link in the description and grab yourself or someone you know some of the self-designed merch, or make a donation to help keep the show going and fund future events and investigations. T-shirts, hoodies, stickers, and magnets can be found on the TeePublic site, and they have sales at least once a month. I believe it is 30 or 35% off. I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly how much, but keep checking back and get them when they're discounts. They have $16 tees, and it's great. For handmade crochet items such as Nessie, Mothman, aliens, Fresno nightcrawlers, and the little ghosts, or a big ghost, as well as pants, swimwear, the best tumblers I have found yet as far as merch is concerned, dresses, office supplies, and more, visit the Square merch store. You can also follow the podcast on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Threads, and TikTok. If you have any questions, topic recommendations, or personal encounters, please don't hesitate to send them in to cryptidscreepsandconspiracy@gmail.com or submit them through the contact form at www.cryptidscreepsandconspiracy.com. I would love to hear from you and share your experience on a special listener episode. Just make sure to specify that I have permission to add your encounter to the show, and let me know whether you would like to have your real name or an alias to maintain confidentiality. Thank you again so much for all your support, and I'll see you next time, my friend.